In his book, The Marvelous Clouds, Towards a Philosophy of Elemental Media, John Durham Peters makes the claim that the old idea that media are environments can be flipped. Environments are also media. Water, fire, sky, and ether are elements that sustain existence. Surely these claims are absurd, as media are clearly tools or markers of human meaning and intention, something that natural elements could not have. Media is about one human communicating to another, and since water, fire, and earth cannot communicate with us, this seems absurd. Nonetheless, I decided to investigate these claims in an attempt to show how ridiculous they were. I decided to investigate Peters' claims of elemental media by first trying to communicate with the clouds, which he names his book after. Unfortunately, it seems that all the clouds were too far away, and so I could not reach one for comment. So instead, I turned to another element, Earth. If Peters' theory of elemental media was correct, then I should be able to communicate with any ordinary rock. So that's what I did. So I'm here to investigate John Durham Peters' claims that elemental media can talk to us, namely this piece of earth right here. I'm going to interview this rock and see what it has to say to us. Now, what can you tell us about yourself? It's ridiculous.
Hi there.
Oh, shit! So can you introduce yourself?
So my name is Gabe, and I'm a rock.
So the reason I'm talking to you is because of this guy, John Durham Peters, who writes that natural elements like earth, fire, and clouds are means of communication, that they should be considered media. Since he seemed to be right about that, I figured I'd ask you some questions regarding some of the other things that he says. Would that be alright?
Yeah, sure. It's not like I'm going anywhere.
Peters says that media are repositories of readable data and processes that sustain and enable existence. What kind of data can you tell us about yourself?
Well, that's a bit of a weird way to ask about me. Specifically, I'm a gabbro rock, which is a type of igneous rock, which is a composite of several different minerals including pyrocene, plagioclase, amphibole, and olivine.
What was your earliest memory?
I'm not 100% sure. I remember feeling being in the mantle, all surrounded by heat and magma. Sort of, I imagine, like being in a womb.
How do you know what a womb is?
I'm a couple thousand years old, so I've been around. But I was a fragment of another larger boulder, which I'm not sure was my dad or just part of my former body, but I just remember coming off one day, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm here now.
So do you have any family members, or do rocks have something similar?
Of course there's Basalt, the hot shot, the go-getter. Basically he's my twin, in that we are chemically identical. He was always more adventurous, probably because he came out of the Earth's crust and cooled faster.
John Durham Peters says that media are civilization ordering devices. What order do you think you bring?
Personally, I don't think I do a lot here in this garden, but I feel I add to its aesthetic and sort of bring the yard together. However, as a gabbro, I might say that I am one of the most important civilization ordering devices. I make up a majority of the seafloor. If I wasn't there, you guys would be drowning in lava. Also, we're pretty important to keeping the infrastructure in order because we're often used in construction. I consider myself relatively lucky. A lot of us gabbros are literally shaved down and used as countertops and gravestones. Now, the erosion process is inevitable. I know one day I'll become a grain of sand. But it's a slow and gradual process, and you don't really notice it. I can't imagine what it's like to go through hundreds of years of erosion in a few hours. It must be painful.
Peters suggests that digital media simply enable us, humans that is, to more rapidly do the things that we've already been doing. Do you think that this is true, and do you feel that you've been used by humans?
Yes. I never decided to be here. I didn't pop out of the earth and think, I want to be a decorative rock in a garden in Santa Cruz. But here I am. Gabbro often contain valuable amounts of rare earth metals. I personally don't, but if I did have some in me, I could have been used in some digital media devices myself. But if we're speaking more broadly, yes, media allows humans to do things faster and more efficiently. I mean, humans have been using rocks as ways to kill and hurt each other for thousands of years. You guys made us into bludgeoning tools, put us in catapults, trebuchets, and used us to build houses and castles to protect yourselves. That is until you discovered you could kill and hurt each other faster using metal bullets and high explosives. Have you seen 2001: A Space Odyssey? Do you remember the opening scene with the primate discovering that he could kill others more quickly with a bone? That could have just as easily been a rock. In that sense, I'm not a technological determinist.
Fascinating. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Gabe's words had struck a chord in me. I realized that everything around me was a potential media source. It made me reconsider what I thought I could learn from and communicate with, and how even seemingly mundane, everyday items can be connected and intertwined with our environment. It turns out that the elements that make up the natural world are indeed a form of communicative media.